Welcome to Only Time Can Tell. I'm your host, Ken. Before we begin, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so this way you get notifications as we upload new videos, new content that may be of interest to you. And notice, guys, I keep mentioning my father, right? And I guess where I was fortunate is that I grew up with my father in my life. And I'm very, very thankful for that because one of the things that he told me was he didn't grow up with his father in his life, and the fact that he didn't grow up with his father in his life, and yet he managed to stay in my life, um, where he had nothing to model, nothing to pattern himself after. I have but the utmost respect for him. I mean, guys, it's really, really important for you to stay in your children's lives. I mean, take it from me. Like, you figure I had children. I didn't necessarily always see eye to eye with their mothers or whatever the case may be, but I managed to always maintain that relationship with my son, my daughter, and eventually what winds up happening is the mom starts to realize, and you even may start to realize that, hold up, we have a common interest, and that is our child. And the fact that we're willing to do whatever we can to give that child the most that we can give them, that right there, you can already build from that. So, like I was saying, with my son, he worked out 6 days a week on his own, and he did that effortlessly. So my thing to him was, why don't you become a personal trainer? Especially like with like the healthcare, obesity on the rise. People want to basically work out with somebody, that can, one, look the part, look good, and you could help them to feel good, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We all want to feel good. So as a result of that, my son got his certification to be a personal trainer. And now we're at, the next phase where, okay, now that we have the certification, how do we basically now get the clientele? So project is coming very, very soon. I don't want to speak too much on that, but we got some ideas that we're going to play on, that we're going to basically bring his business into fruition for you guys all to see. But that's coming soon. But what is fatherhood? How does that basically work? How does what I've learned from my dad was you have to be there, right? But in addition to you being there, you have to instill certain things, right? What's important? Discipline, right? What's also important? Routine. So I remember with my daughter, and I always used to take her to school in the mornings, right? And then my address had changed. I was living in Staten Island at one point, as opposed to living 4 blocks away from her. But me understanding how important routine is, I made it a point to get up 5 o'clock in the morning, right? Travel an hour and a half to pick up my daughter by 7 o'clock in the morning, just so I could spend that 10, 15 minutes walking with her to school. And that, I believe, made the world of the difference, because that let her know that no matter where dad may physically be, he's still going to be there, and he's always going to be reliable. He's always going to be on time. And that's the one thing as a man that I know that I can control. I'm going to be there no matter what. So she definitely appreciated that. And it just always makes me think of a joke that I've heard from Chris Rock. My only job as a father is to make sure to keep my daughters off the pole. By being there, I'm sure I'm doing that. But now that's my daughter, that's my 26-year-old son. What about my 10-year-old son, right? How do you raise him? Like, what is fatherhood like with the 10-year-old? With someone that's, immature, that's impulsive or whatever? Well, what's simple for me, and I had this conversation earlier, is what works for me is not only discipline, but you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. I have to lead by example with him. So my thing to him is, if when he wakes up, if he's to brush his teeth, wash his face, and make up his bed, he has to see me do that. So that's what I do. As soon as I wake up, I brush my teeth, wash my face, make up my bed, get dressed. So therefore, when I tell him to do it, he already has a point of reference. He doesn't even give me any back talk. He just knows, okay, this is what I'm going to do because my father did this. So that works wonderfully. So for, those parents, those moms who, have their own personal like agendas and don't necessarily see eye to eye with the father, try to do whatever you can to work it out so that the kids have like what they need, because they need both energies. They need the masculine and they need the feminine energy. It's very, very important, and it makes a world of a difference. And it's very important for fathers to be in their child's lives, because I'll never forget one time I had to go away on a business trip. And as a result of that business trip, I remember missing my youngest son's graduation from a kindergarten. And although he didn't necessarily articulate that he was sad, you could definitely tell when I look at the pictures, he missed his father not being there. So that's why, I definitely try to stress to you single men, especially if your fathers, try to do whatever you can to stay in your child's lives, because they really need it, man. There's nothing like having that masculine energy or that love from their fathers. It's nothing like that, man. And I see that from my children. They love spending time with me. I love spending time with them. And there's no better feeling, man. So guys, you got to do it. Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure you're in your child's lives. And perfect example, I grew up in a single parent household. At one point, the first 5 years of my life, I was with my mom, but my father, he said he used to come around every other weekend. To me, it felt like every week, but there was no better feeling as a child to see my father, like at the end of whatever was going on, to come pick me up. That was like the best feeling in the world. Which is why I think I was able to internalize that and help carry that to my children, so that they always knew, like, no matter what I had going on, Friday to Sunday was their time. Now, granted, it made it hard for me to date, a single father. One of the first things that I would tell women was that I'm with my children Fridays to Sunday, so you're not going to see me until that time frame. But for the most part, they understood. But like I said, guys, I cannot stress this strongly enough. If you have children, do whatever you can to stay a part of their lives, man, because they need it. They need it really, really bad. So there you have it. That's my little taste, my little spill on fatherhood. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to tune in next week. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. We'll see you next time. This is Ken. Peace.